Okay, so what is an API, guys? Can you tell me what is meant by API?
Application programming interface.
Okay. This is the definition, right? Just, it is not even the definition, it is just the abbreviation, what it stands for. But how do you understand what API is?
It's kind of middleman between us and server, between client and server. This is a part of functionalities from different web services that we can use in our own application. One of the good examples is, for example, when we are in the restaurant, we have a waiter who is a connector between kitchen and us. So API basically is that running waiter from us to kitchen, from kitchen to us, and based on requests. And we use in requests different types of requests to get a response from the server side, such as get, such as post, such as put, such as delete, etc.
Hold on, please. So this is general for the web services, speaking about requests, sending responses, but what is an API?
API, it's routing protocol. Is an internet protocol address, and protocol address, internet protocol address have a numerical labels, for example, from computer, printer, or something this. And internet protocol, it's a communication from user, networking, a computer networking. Yes.
But this is IP, not API.
One second, hold on, please. So,
Okay.
guys, can API be a web service?
Yes.
Is every API a web service?
No.
Okay, then can you define what is an API?
API is it's a mechanism to communicate between different information system via network, and
Not necessarily via network.
No. It's a it's interface. It's a first of all, it's an interface which helps to intercommunicate between not only service service and client. It may be it may be a communication between two different services. For example, login service and post. For example, topic poster service in microservice architecture.
Am I not sharing the screen with you? I'm giving you the hint. API is a set of rules, protocols, and tools that for creating software applications, right? And they specify how the software components should interact. And as I said, API may be remote, right? And they can be local. So can you give me an example of non-web services APIs?
DirectX API, for example.
Maybe Android APIs.
Okay, absolutely. Any operating system, right, has a set of APIs, which is some ready-made pieces of codes that you can reuse. And the most important thing about the APIs, you can reuse them without even knowing how they were created. You just take those ready pieces of code, right? But you need to know the rules, how they should be implemented in your application, right? And what is the main difference between APIs and web services?
Web services uses uses HTTP protocol.
Okay, I would say any web service is an API, but not every API is a web service.
Please clarify this because I don't understand this.
Okay, let's speak about web services now. What is web service?
Service through internet.
Okay, that's correct. So any interaction of any components on the network, right? Using, again, some specific rules and protocols for this interaction or communication. So can you elaborate on this picture, guys? How is this web service implemented?
The request response, that basically what I explained, kind of that waiter that between our client side and server side.
We
So
can have different clients, right? We can have web browsers, we can have mobile application, can have another service that will send a request to the
endpoint.
To the web server, right? This request will be accepted, reviewed, and if it confirms the requirements, the credentials, and the accessibility is performed by user credentials, password, email, username, right? And then it will be processed and returned to the client in the form of the response. Okay, different protocols can be involved in that, right? So speaking about that, can you define the difference between API and web services? API is created for communication and web services are created for communication. So the main difference lies in what? In the network, right? If it belongs to the network, then it will be a web service. If it belongs to just operating system, or you can take, create some API, put it on a flashcard, insert it into your computer, and then start working with this API. It will not be web service. It will be just API. Do you get the difference now, guys?
Yes, so every web service is API, but not every API is a web service. It could work without internet, right? But web server cannot, web services cannot work without internet.
That's true. All right. What else? Okay, can you define what REST is, guys? And again, I hope that you see my slide and you will be able to use it as a hint.
Well, I don't want to read it, but there are two types: SOAP and REST. We alone in representational state transfer.
Okay.
But not SOAP. SOAP. It's a different, and as I understand, is not as I may mistake. Definitely, it's not as popular than REST API.
So REST is an approach, right, that is used for creating APIs. And if we follow those principles, then those web services will be called RESTful APIs. And as you correctly mentioned, there is another protocol that is used for creating APIs, and it is called SOAP, which stands for Simple Object
Exchange. Exchange protocol.
Exchange protocol. Okay.
Galina, but we also do have JMS, HTTP, UDDI. So how can we consider Dmitri's answer as he mentioned that there are just two types of?
No. Let's now define. SOAP can use different protocols, which are UDP, TCP, FTP, but REST is based only on one protocol, actually two. What are they?
HTTP.
HTTP.
Okay, let's define another difference. Which data type is used with SOAP?
XML, if I don't mistake.
XML and JSON.
And with REST, we can use?
With REST, we use JSON.
JSON.
We can use any type. We can use
Text.
we can use.
Actually,
JSON,
yeah, any
XML.
type, GraphQL.
Most often used data transfer types are XML and JSON. Good. Then the next difference lies in the documentation that is used with SOAP. Can you give me the name of it? Web Services Definition Language, right? This is a special XML format of identifying specifications for this. And with REST, it can be what documentation we use for the requirements.
Swagger. Open API.
Okay, any other ways of presenting the requirements?
It can be any way.
It can be any, correct. It can be plain text.txt format. It can be PDF. It can be Word document. It can be JSON schema, just JSON schema that is available as well. So any type is possible. Therefore, we can make a decision that REST is more flexible, easy to work with, and it is now more popular. Okay, guys, now let's see how it works. Can you give me the 4 principles that of RESTful APIs?
Last one.
First, here, methods. What methods should we use?
Get for getting, retrieving information, post for
Right.
creating information. There are some other methods such as update, what else? Put, maybe delete, too popular. Yeah, I think that's it.
Mostly we will be working with CRUD operations, right? That are related with creating.
Reading, updating, and deleting.
But it means that the most important about this principle that we use HTTP methods should be used explicitly. If we want to get information, we would definitely not use post, right? And if you want to make post, we will not do put or patch. Okay, this is what is meant by this first principle. Second one is related with resources and URL. Can you define the second principle?
So the parameters are building the URL parts, which has the domain name, then the HTTP or HTTPS method, and then it has as well the elements or the parameters.
Right. So any resource that we want to perform action on should be included into our URL, right? Or endpoint. Good. The next principle is related with the formats, data formats. And we already mentioned that. It can be any, but most commonly used are
JSON.
JSON. Okay, good. And final, statelessness. How do you understand this principle?
It's basically once we do the request, the server does not remember our request. So it's like come and go.
Absolutely. Okay. The next. Can we perform testing, at least partial testing of the responses from the server using DevTools?
We can.
Yeah, we can. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
We can use the elements, the web element inspector, and just to do some like testing on the API, just doing some requests as well.
Okay, so we can definitely look into the network activity log, right? And each activity name, right? If we click on it, which has this XHR type, it will disclose in headings, right? The request URL, the method
status
that it was sent with, right? The HTTP status code. And if we click on the preview, we will get the list of returned information in the response body. Okay, and again, it is in JSON format. Okay, and so what will be our actions as QA engineers when we perform API testing?
Created queries, no queries, requests.
Okay, but we definitely create requests, we send those requests. What do we actually verify when we perform API tests?
Information, the vendor.
Fisher got
Status
200,
codes. Yeah.
200 status code.
the status codes.
200 is a good start if you get it.
Will you always get 200 status code?
No, life shows that not really always.
Right. So
Sometimes it's 403, depending.
they received HTTP status code, no matter what you receive. So, and if it is successful status code, you are definitely fine. If you get the client error status code, you definitely will update your request to make sure that it would be appropriately processed. What will happen if you have 500 error status code?
That's a server-side error.
Right, and you probably need to inform your developers about this kind of error. Okay, what else will you verify apart from the status code?
The response time.
Response time, okay. And it is kind of basic performance check. Good. But
Body.
we have to know the requirements for that. It might be specified in some document, not in Swagger, but there will be some other specification called service level agreement, right? That will specify the number of milliseconds for the loading page or for processing different requests. Okay. All right, what else?
Body.
Right, you definitely have to check that the response body returns what it is supposed to, right? So you definitely will parse this return body and check some specific fields of this, of JSON objects, okay? And in some cases, you will verify response headers, but most of the time, response headers are needed for people who are dealing with the security. All right. So what are the advantages? Can you elaborate on the advantages of API testing?
Well, first of all, that's the early stage of testing, so we don't need the front end to be able to start testing.
Good. Good.
Time consuming.
Time saving, time effective, right? So definitely we do not have to wait until the page is fully loaded, and it saves a lot of time. And when you start automating API tests, they require less code, therefore it saves time for writing those tests as well. Okay. What else?
API probably can be used to communicate between the applications which are written and using different like code, different language, developing language.
That's true. So the project under test may be written in any language, right? And the server side can also be written in a different language, but they will be using one and the same data format for the exchange, and it will be XML or JSON. Definitely it is a big advantage. And finally, what I mean by easy integration with GUI. So you generated, by sending your API requests, certain number of users, right? You then send certain number of requests for generating quizzes and assignments, and they will be existing in your database and in your application. And then while performing UI testing, right? When you are doing with the front end, you will go to those accounts, to those quizzes, to those assignments, and you can perform UI testing with the data that you have generated with API requests. This is...
Galina, sorry, one question. Are we somehow protected from just modifying the database the wrong way? So there is like another, like a level, like a Git maybe, repositories, other.
That's true. It happens. But definitely you need to have a clear understanding what you are doing with those API requests so that you do not modify your database.
But are there any kind of restriction, like in SQL, where you grant the permission by an administrator to truncate or to drop table? So can we do we have something like that, or not?
Only if you are working with XMySQL. Otherwise, you will generate a lot of requests, quizzes, whatever. You will change the user's name, password, whatever, right? Which will not detriment your database in any way, right? But it may change your account information. But if you are not very cautious working with XMySQL and sending those requests, it may be a big issue.
I maybe didn't get you correctly, but talking about API, talking about delete request. So can I make some problems with the database by...
Okay, what will be you created a quiz and then you deleted the quiz. You created a user and then you deleted a user. What else? This is and you're working on the testing environment. It can be QA or staging. You will not harm any real user.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But again, my point that once you are dealing, and I will show you how to work with XMySQL. With this XMySQL software, you will be able to modify the database, but please don't do it. I will show just one request that is safe. Please don't play with it. Okay?
Galina, may I ask you something? By searching some resources in internet, I got a little bit of confusion because a lot of web sources are telling that API is part of integration testing. By our knowledge, we know that it's like second level of testing after unit testing, and it's done by developer. Can you like explain?
Okay, it can be done by the developers, or it can be done by QA engineers who have knowledge about this. And you see that nowadays all the job description requires this kind of knowledge from their candidates. So I'm not a developer, I told you already, but I was a part of the group that was involved in API services.
Okay, so in such case, we're not gonna run, like, for example, unit testing, we're not gonna run security testing.
Run any unit testing, but you will be a part of the group that is testing web services. And I will remind you that we didn't have the UI developed, fully developed. Backend was ready for testing. All the logic of creating different types of questions, since I was working on similar application, but a little bit more complicated. There were not only single choice, multiple choice question, but there were component drop-down list, drag and drop, and they have different complex algorithms of evaluating the results. So we had to check this logic, how the backend provides the assessment of different types of questions. So we had our developers, they created for us the simple renderer so that we could enter mathematic input, right? 5 + 6 = 10, or also some renderer for containing some formulas. So, and we were able to get the response from the server, and we verified it through DevTools. Exactly the same way that I showed to you. But even in some cases, we had to send our request directly to the server. And in this case, we were, of course, we're using Postman. Does it make sense? So this is the integration level before the system, and system supposes to have all the components, both front end and back end in place. So, but at this level, we were using API testing through renderer and reviewing most of the requests through DevTools. Okay? But of course, you have to know the logic, you have to have the requirements provided, and we didn't have Swagger at that time. Everything was in text format.
So now we know that it was before 2011.
Actually, no. What do you mean before 2011?
We had some researches about Swagger, so we know that it's available since.
So our developers didn't bother to put it into this sophisticated format, right? So, and when I was in my recent company and I had to test the API And it was actually test automation with Selenium. It was pure test automation. I also didn't have Swagger. It was PDF format of the requirements. So, and it was PDF format, plus it was every assignment was having the specific user story with acceptance criteria. So I had two resources, story plus PDF requirements.
So it was 1,000 times more complicated than
So my project related with assessment control refers to the year of 2016, and this one that I had to do test automation was in 2019. Okay. All right, so we are finished with the advantages of API. Now let's discuss the advantages of Postman. There are different tools that can exist in different browsers, but the most popular one is Postman. Why?
resource.
Say again?
Because it's free.
Okay, it is open source.
Yeah.
But I would say that if you want to use the team collections, right, and working with team collections, it is not the open source. You will have to buy the license for that. But nevertheless, what is meant by accessibility, guys? What do you think? It is not accessibility testing, but
Probably it's easy to use.
it is easy to use and it is easy to access your collections, right? Why? You create your account. You create your Postman account and you can sign up.
All
So
of them, they gathered in one place.
Right, and all your collections will be gathered in one place. They will be stored somewhere on the cloud, right? And you will be able to get used to access all those collections on the condition, on any computer, on the condition that you will install Postman. And it should be native Postman, right? You downloaded it on a new computer that you have recently bought, or you can work from home on your home computer and you can access your collections at work using your work computer. So you will just log in into your Postman account, right? And here you go. You will be able to save all your collections. Okay, use of collections. What is the benefit of those collections, guys?
So it's easy to sort the tests.
Easy to find it.
Okay.
Also, you can automate it,
Okay.
so they will run automatically, and you can select the option that you will get all test result on your email, for example, and based on schedule. So you just automatically will get this result on specific date and specific times, and you will have full control of it.
Okay, you combine a lot of things into one place, right? My point is that you definitely can organize your requests, right? Logically. They are supposed to be to belong to one and the same topic, right? Or to one and the same project, but they have to be organized in specific order so that they can be run as a sequence. Because if they're not logically organized, for example, you first create post and then you log in as a teacher, will that collection be workable? you definitely have to log in as a teacher, and then you have to create a quiz and send the post request, right? So the logical order of the requests in a collection is of great importance. Okay, so good. What else? Collaboration. What is meant by collaboration, guys?
The team can communicate with each other, probably, right?
Right.
And you can collaborate your work all in one place.
Okay, but as I said, this feature is not available on a free version, but professional versions, the ones that you buy or your company will provide a license for, right? They will allow to see how your team members run collections, right? And it will keep the history of those runs. And similarly to GitHub, you will be able to fork the collection of your teammates, right? Continue work on this collection separately. And then later you can create a pull request. And then once it is reviewed, you will be able to merge it into another collection. So it is really a way to collaborate. But as I said, it is a paid version of, and we are using public version. Okay, environments. Can you tell me what is meant by this? You remember we created an environment.
Different variables,
Right.
such as URL,
Services.
tokens, and so on.
Absolutely.
But we can use these variables in global too.
Okay, we will be speaking about different scopes of environments today, but you definitely can have more than one environment. One, for example, will be for your QA environment. Another one will be for staging environment. And they may have different variables, variable values, different passwords, different URLs. So, but the tests will be the same. So you can definitely import the same collection, right? Update your variable values and run one and the same collection on different environments. So you don't have to create a new one, but you will be able to run them just one and the same. It saves a lot of time. Does it make sense?
Absolutely.
Good. Creation of tests. What is meant by that? So we didn't start working with the tests yet, but Postman allows to make assertions in your requests.
We can use the built-in tool like a runner for making the tests, right?
No, for making,
No?
1 second, let me go to Postman. And here, so in collections, right, we can run collection and it will show us the runner. You can change the order of those collections. You can check and uncheck some of the requests that you want or do not want to be executed, right? You can put the number of iterations with some delay. So, and then if you click on this ask button and it will be run, but it should be a workflow and it should be updated with some specific data. And we will learn how to pass one piece of information, right? For example, now we have to manually update our tokens, our IDs, quiz ID, student ID, right? From one request to another. So with tests, we will be able to use JavaScript programming language, even if you don't have enough knowledge of JavaScript programming language. Postman provides snippets of Java code that will be enough for you to cope with this task. So we will create those tests and we will be able to run them in the post runner. Okay. And we also can export and import those collections, and today we will be working on that as well. And I remember that Dmitry mentioned about setting the time for some of the test automation runs, and this is available due to this monitor. One second, monitors. Create a monitor here, and we can create the monitor name, we can select a collection, we can select the environment, and we can set the timer, right? And every day at a certain time, and it will be triggered automatically. Okay.
Galina, you mentioned that we can export and import collection.
Yes.
Where are we gonna export them and where are we gonna import them?
Okay, so you need to export your collection and you will be able to run it not in the Postman runner, but through Newman. This is another software that allows you, works as a component to Postman and allows to run your API tests from command line.
Okay, I got it, thanks.
And import, for example, you want me to check your request. Some of your requests have some errors. And of course, I need you export your data. You attach it to your Jira ticket. Then I import this, and I will show you how to import this, and I will be able to run it to see analyze the problem and come up with a solution so that you can update your request as needed. So this is a very, very useful functionality, import and export. Okay. All right, what else do we have left? So, okay. So we have already spoken about the CRUD operations. We mentioned the structure of URL. Can you again specify the structure of the URL, which is important, guys?
Yeah, we have the protocol.
Right.
Most of the time we'll be using like HTTP.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will have domain. If we don't have the domain, we have the IP address. Then there is a port, or by default, if it's like default port, we don't have it listed in the address. And then we have the path, which is like consists as well, like it includes as well the endpoints.
Okay, guys, and in our case, right, if I go back to our collections here, and probably I need to open our base URL. What is this V1? Can you tell me what is this?
The version.
Why do we need version?
Because there are different versions of this application.
They may be different.
Our environment, right?
API, right? And why do we need it?
Because some of our customer lazy to update our software.
No. Some of our customers may be using the version which is not backward compatible with their application, right? And they will still be using this version 1. And the rest of the customers who recently started working with the updated API, they will probably be working with version 2. So just keep in mind that versioning is important for the end customers. Okay, and a couple of words about authentication. What is this, guys?
We have unique key, which are created as a token, and this is a unique password, which is generated for one specific user for one specific session. And when we close session, it will be another token created. It is encrypted, so it's extremely hard to fake it.
Okay, so once again, is it the password? Are you sure that this is a password?
It's a key. It's a key, unique key that created automatically for each session.
Okay.
It's like identifier.
Absolutely, right. Guys, are you familiar with what types of authentication or authorization you are familiar with? What
No, we are not familiar.
are we using in our application?
Bearer token.
Bearer token.
But we don't know what it, I mean, I don't know what it is.
Okay, bearer token, it means that we have each bearer, right, has a specific token that we need to indicate.
So bearer is like user.
There may be API key, right? It can be basic authentication. I can demonstrate you another application that was developed for our training purposes that has both bearer token and basic authentication. But we also have those more sophisticated ones that have some require cryptographic signing of each request. Bearer token and basic authentication are less complicated. The simplest one is basic, but it is easy to break. Therefore, bearer token is sufficient for our needs. Okay.
And what is the most complicated, the most secured?
I'm not sure which one. I don't know. I have to Google it out.
NTLM maybe. That's about
I
it.
am not sure. I will have to check with our developer. But again, every API will definitely, especially for testing purposes, will identify types of authentication that are supported. And it will be specified in the requirement. All right, guys, now let's start working with our requests. And so you said that you moved on in creating some of them. So I ask you not to touch the ones that require getting activation code, right? But what about the sign up? Did you have any difficulties in with this request post sign up?
Yes. Because it looks like you have to create a new account.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's create a new request, and it will be post a base URL, and it will be sign up. So according to our Swagger. We don't need any parameters here. So it will be our request body. Okay. So request body, it will be raw. We will select JSON format and put this. I'm not sure whether, so when we create the request sign up, we definitely need to provide that we don't have duplicated email addresses, right? So game of tea, let it be like this. Name can should not be unique, and password also. Okay, so what if we send this request? We will get status error, missing body parameter group. Okay, so what can we do in this case?
Just that.
We can insert group, but still they do.
If we have this message, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can use the Postman Interceptor. And what is Postman Interceptor, guys? This is a Chrome extension that will act as the companion to Postman. And Interceptor enables you to synchronize the cookies from your browser to Postman and capture network requests directly from the browser. And it will save them into your history folder here. So far, I have only one request here, and I can delete this request and have my folder empty. So in order to reproduce this correct request of the body, I need to go to my application, log out, go to my registration page, and fill out all these forms, right? And it is John Snow, and the email will be this one. And the group code will be ABCD, and the password will be Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones. And this one also, Game of Thrones. White space is not allowed. What is this? Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
So Galina, your first name, the first line, I think you put the H, and in the code, there's no H, and that might probably cause the problem.
Game of Thrones. Okay, now it is good. Before I send this information, send this request, guys, please mute yourselves.
Galina, your first name is misspelled, John, and in encoded, there's no H.
Doesn't matter. Here as well. John Snow. Okay, I will add it here or whatever. And then I need to turn on my Postman Interceptor. I will click here, and I will click here as well. So you see, I have it off. I need to move the toggle to on. And I have to do the same in Postman Interceptor. So now those two components will be synchronized. And you see in my history, there are some.
Excuse me, Galina, you turned on Postman Interceptor, and what else?
1 second, then I will register. So I have been successfully registered. Now I go to my history and I will select the post request that has this endpoint sign up. Here it is. Let me move it up. This one, post request to my URL, and the endpoint is sign up. I will open it up. I will open the body of my request, and I even can beautify it so that it looks like more than this actual JSON file, right? So this will be our correct request body. And my every next move, right, will add more information into my history. And don't forget to turn off your Postman Interceptor. Otherwise, you will have hundreds and thousands of your requests in the history, but you definitely will be able to clean them. So I will, for now, turn this off.
Galina, sorry, and why we cannot sign up with just using the Postman?
If you know the correct version, you definitely can add the group, but I wanted to demonstrate how to make use of Postman Interceptor. And this is the simplest way, right?
Okay.
So, and I can now clear up my history. So I will put everything into delete my history here, and it will again be empty, this folder. And next time I need my Postman Interceptor turned on, I will go here, turn it here, check that this one is also turned on, and then work with the next request. So this will be my sign up request now, right? So
I'm sorry. So that's when we are able to use user interface.
Yeah. So if you face some error message that is thrown by Postman, error, something is missing in your request body, you need to make sure that they are using correct body. And you need to verify your requirements, right? So you can reproduce the same situation through UI and capture the correct body.
What if we don't have UI available yet?
Then it's a different problem, yeah. Then you definitely have to check it out with the developer.
Thank you.
It's not ready yet. There is no other way. So Postman Interceptor allows you to capture your requests from already available UI. Okay, and now we're able to save this request to our collection. Save as, and it will be, actually, I'm not going to save this. I have it already, so I will just update my body. You see here, I started working on this request. And where is this? This one or this one? This one, right. So I will have to update it and save it in my collection. Ask requests as post sign up. And with the description, registration, you, and it will be student role, right? because by default, every new user will be registered as a student. So if we send this sign up now, and probably I will send it now. User was created.
Galina, and it's only with the Chrome, right?
Yeah. Postman Interceptor works only with the
Okay.
Galina, do I understand correctly that we can use any group? So we just create a new user this way without entering the website, or it
completely fast UI, right? We can send this request and we will create a new user. Okay, but
it wasn't created before, right?
It was not created before. And if I go there and search by email, and this one, it will show me, what is this? That this user has been just created now, right? A minute ago. And I will get the ID of this user and the role and the group. So, and the activation code will be some string containing alphanumeric characters, and active will be 1. It means that the user has not been confirmed.
Why does it show September 28, not September 27?
Maybe because our
the server is somewhere.
Server, yeah, we are not. Server has some Greenwich time, I don't know. Okay. So far, we don't know how to retrieve the ID of this user, of this new user, so that we can work with this. I will show how to work with the database a couple of days later. Our primary goal to learn how to create all those requests, and you are supposed to finish the task by writing all the requests and creating the collection and attaching it to your task. And the task will be, okay, it will be REST API testing. So you need to test all APIs from our application. You can find requirements in Swagger. As a result of this task, you will export the collection from Postman, attach it to this task, and move it to ticket. So far, we do not create any tests, but you need to be able to create requests and get successful results for all the requests. Okay. All right. There was another problematic request. Guys, what was that? Can you?
Yes, it was some confusions in Swagger, because Swagger has a like mistake.
Which request caused you problems?
The assignments.
Okay, create an assignment. Let's do it together. So it will be our, and this one I will delete. I don't need to save this one, right? It was just my request from this history folder. And in my collection so far, I have this sign up. Okay, and the next one, we will create post assignment, right? So
yes, that's the one.
The post as a method, the base URL will be as usual. And the endpoint of our post, okay, let's close this one, is not this one, this one. Post assignment. Post assignment. So just assignment. Okay. So it needs authorization of the teacher, right? And guys, I didn't use my application for the entire weekend. It means that my token for the teacher has expired. So I need to send this request one more time, and I will get a new token. I will copy this token, go to my environment, and I will update my current value. So update my current value. Okay, what else do we need here? Authorization is in place. In the body of the request, I have to have a quiz ID, and I have to have user's ID. And what is meant by user's ID? What do you think?
User ID, it's a foreign key in assignment table, the last one, the last column, which is related to primary key in users table, which are ID, and then is a name. So 12 is an ID of some student or teacher, etc.
Okay, then I will copy this, right, and add it to my new request. So did I create this one? Okay, post assignment. So in the body, I will select this one and add it. And again, it should be JSON format. Authorization will be my bearer token, teacher token. Okay, token, teacher. Okay, and student ID, right? So I need to create a new request for the student, and I did it already, right? So I will sign in as a valid student. So in my request body, I'm using student number 9 with the password. I'm taking the student from this data table, and I hope those credentials are still valid, that you didn't update them. Okay, so I will send this request now, and I will get the new token for the student. And again, I will go to my environment. You see, it has this icon as environment, and I will update the current value for my student. And I will save it. Okay.
Galina, could you please repeat how did you get the new token within the Postman? Because I was getting it through the inspect and network tool.
When you send the request, sign in your response body, you get all the information.
Right, but right now my token has expired, obviously, and I pressed send and it gave me an error.
Okay.
On the same assignment.
Alicia, I will stop sharing. Let's look into your request.
Okay. 1 second, please.
Galina, as Alisa is sharing, may I ask you something? I have some troubles with my bridge in Interceptor. So should I install variables through environment, or what should I do? Do you have idea what I'm talking about?
Can we look into your problem a little bit?
Later on. Okay, later on. Thanks.
One request at a time, okay? So we need to sign in as a student, right? So find your request, sign in as a student.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I couldn't hear you. I'm so sorry, guys, for taking so much time.
Okay, Alisa, we are speaking about your request, sign in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
As a
No, I was talking about this assignment because I pressed send and my token has expired, right?
Then
and it gave me this.
If your request sign in, could you please click on sign in request? Where's your sign in?
God knows.
It is supposed to be somewhere on the top, right? It was the first request that we created.
I wasn't creating right now. Sign in as a teacher.
The teacher, right?
Okay.
Click on this one and send it one more time. And this is the token that you have to update in your environment. Copy.
No, I got it now because I was going to
Copy and paste it into your environment. How do you get to the environment? Okay, here, edit, and update the current value. Click one more time, delete everything, and paste the new value.
No, I got that. I was just, I guess I was asking a different question.
Okay, which question?
It's okay. It's okay. I figured out. Thank you. Let me stop sharing.
Okay. Now, please, Irina, what is your problem?
Really quick, about Interceptor, I have some troubles with Breach. Should I install the environment variables, or what should I do?
You don't have, you just need to click on install Breach, and then it would be working.
I don't have button install Breach.
Okay, can we take this offline? Because
yeah, sure. I'm gonna figure out till the end of our class. I'm gonna figure out on my own. Thanks.
Galina, I also need help. May I share my screen?
Sure. Okay, we see your screen.
Mm-hmm. I have to create a variable for token student.
Yes. Where you need to open your collection, and do you have sign in as a student?
No, I don't have.
Then you have to create this, provide valid credentials for the student, and then you will get this token for the student that you're going to be working with.
Mm-hmm.
I used student number 9. You can use your student that you created with your name, or you can take a student from the data table, whatever is fair. But you have to repeat the same request, sign in as a student, and then capture the student token and add it to your environment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see.
Okay, please do it.
Okay.
Guys, anyone else needs help? Did you create your student with a request? All right, then I probably will be able to continue if you don't mind. So now we have updated our tokens, right?
Galina, I'm so sorry. Can I ask one more question?
What is your question, Alexia?
Okay, my question is,
can
I share my screen? It's okay. I'll ask you later. I don't know what's happening. I can share my screen.
Okay. Then we proceed with this request post assignment, right? So let's go back to this request post assignment. So we provided the correct token, and in the body we have quiz ID and user's ID, right? So we need to create a new quiz. If you remember, I deleted my quiz, right? So I will post a new quiz, send this request, and I will get the quiz ID and add it to my post request here as the value of quiz ID. And now my student ID. So this is my student login, and the ID of my student will be this one, 2752. Okay, 2752. And even if I'm using just one value, right? And it is included into the square brackets, right? I still have to keep those square brackets. What is the indication of the array? You guys told me that you were working with documentation on JSON arrays.
The square brackets, probably.
Yeah, the square bracket. If you see the square bracket, it means that you have more than one element, right? You have a list, you have a collection.
It can be one, but it can be more.
It can be one, but it can be more. And then you definitely have to keep those brackets. Okay, so what about those quotes? If we are dealing with
That's a string, probably, or the JSON format.
Numbers, do we need quotes? Okay, so if I send this like this, so we probably have everything. Let me try. Okay, and we see object is not correct because we have an array and the message should be an array, and we have a string, it is not an array. Therefore, we definitely have to delete those unnecessary brackets, and if we send it now, we will get the correct result, successful result. So definitely we don't need those double quotes, which denotes the string, but our object was an array, a collection of objects. And one more time, if your specification says that it is an array and it is defined by the square brackets, even if you have only one element of the array, you still have to keep the square bracket.
Galina, excuse me, can you show one more time where you get user IDs?
User IDs, as Dmitry said, is the foreign key in the assignment statement, right? So let me bring it up. So if we go to our assignments, we have primary key, which is assignment ID, right? And we have a foreign key, user ID. And this user ID is, okay, if I click on this, what is this one? One more time. I click here. So it is actually the ID of the student, right? So this is the ID of the student, the role student, and it is the activated student. So we just need this ID. And in my case, right, when I sign in as a student, I'm taking this ID from my previous request. So this is my ID.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so we finally were able to create our assignment. And what do we have here? Now we have this assignment ID. So it will be the assignment ID that we will probably need for our next request. If we want to submit the assignment as a student, we definitely will need this ID. And you see that in our response body, we also have opening square bracket and closing square bracket, right? It means that the teacher, right, may have more than one assignments created. And we have to be aware of that. Any questions? What do we need to do, guys? Do we see anything that we need to take care of immediately? We updated our request and we didn't save it. Okay, so let's save it into our collection. That will be post assignment, and the description will be teacher creates an assignment.
Galina, it looks like Interceptor is working with different browsers, but the thing is that we have to install it through terminal. So actually it looks with works with different browsers. So I got it. I'm good with the bridge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good. I remember that I sent you the instructions how to download and install the Postman Interceptor as well.
Yeah, actually I had it, but I didn't know that it's not connected. That was like main issue, but now it's good. Thanks.
Okay, and I believe that the final request that you had really difficulty with was submit assignment as a student, right? Didn't you guys? Who managed? Sergey, you said that you were able to complete all the assignments. Can you show us your version of this submit assignment as a student?
Me too.
Yes.
Okay. Let's look what you did.
It was easy, but
Okay, please
okay.
screen and we'll show.
Okay. Share screen. Where's my Postman? Did you see my Postman? Okay. What assignments?
Post submit assignment. Student submits assignment. It is.
Post submit. Student submit assignments. Okay. Post.
It's 7th from the bottom.
Submit assignment. Yes.
Can you open it?
Yes, I can. This one?
This post assignment as a teacher. I need post submit assignment as a student.
As a student, sorry.
3 more down.
No.
This is number 7 from the bottom.
7th from the bottom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it's opened.
No, this is post assignment as a teacher. I need post submit assignment as a student, and you have it clearly displayed. Scroll 3 more down. Post my grades. and which is not correct.
Yes, I just try to open, but you can see. I just disconnect sharing and one more time. Okay. Share. Post submit assignment. Students submit assignment.
How did you get this value?
This one?
Yeah.
From the previous assignments.
What do you mean from the previous?
When teacher create assignments for students.
Where did you get the body of the response?
The body of the response, I go to the site assignments, create assignments. No. Yes, I go to the site and try to create assignments, go to the DevTools.
Okay.
And
so you got the correct. Okay, can you run this request?
right now I can.
I still don't get it because the body of the request that was provided in Swagger is not correct. Where did you get the correct body?
This one body doesn't is incorrect.
Obviously, if you send it, it is working fine. But where did you get it from?
I just tell you about. I go to the site and make this request, and go to the DevTools and go in DevTools. I found the. I can show how it make.
Show us how you did it.
Okay, just. Just stop sharing. Share. Where is my? Okay. Share. Legal. Okay, okay.
You don't have any assignments.
It's another student. Student, what is the student's ID?
Okay, you have 27 assignments.
Yes, I try to figure out and go my. Oh, sorry, not.
Okay, you go to your assignments and you
Yes.
which one?
It was the first one. I don't remember because right now and go to network. My assignments and you saw. Yes, well, response. And I took this one response. No. Sorry, I don't remember because I did it last night and.
Okay, Alex Kotov, you also said that you were able to get the successful result for this request. Maybe you will show how you did it.
Okay, I just remember. Give me 1 minute. I will remember and I will share my answer because, sorry, because it was very difficult date for me, right? And I don't remember.
Okay. Today I also had a very difficult day, so I was doing the job market clearance for 4 hours in a row. So again, by the earned-based class, I will be completely exhausted, believe me. Okay, but so far, I would like to get answer from Alex Kotov.
Okay.
If you were able to get the body.
Do you hear me?
Yeah. Would you show us how you did it?
Ой, так, desktop, share, open system process. I never do it before. Sure. I don't know. Do you hear my desktop?
See, and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we need your submit assignment. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I'm gonna get new token for teacher.
Okay.
Just click on this script. After that, I go to create new assignment here.
Yes.
And I just know quiz ID and user ID, and just send it. And in response, I got this ID.
Okay.
16477.
Yeah.
1 second. Copy paste. Ctrl+C. And go to submit assignment student here and put in here.
One second. Can you show me the body of your
Yeah, that's it.
1 second, but you need to send the request for our demo quiz. You just take this text answer, this is my assignment, and it contains only one textual question, right? This is correct. But we need to be working with our demo quiz so that we will be able to include it into our entire workflow. How did you identify the correct body for that? So it is right. You definitely have to identify the item.
I remember.
Okay. Good. Now please keep sharing, and we will see Sergey's answer.
Yeah, it was the same stations. I go to the assignment. I just put the answer like this one, and I open the DevTool, inspect element, and submit assignment. Go to the network and go to the source request payload view source, and this was my body.
Yes, this is correct. So you can use either DevTools, which is easier, right? Or the same way you can do the Postman Interceptor.
Yes.
Because if you use the same body as is indicated in our specification, you will get an error, right? Let me demonstrate it now for you guys. Thank you, Sergey. Very good. 1 second. So I will stop sharing, and I'm going to create a new request for submit assignment, right? So it will be again post, and it will be base URL, and I'm going back to my Swagger resource, and it will be student API, submit assignment. So authorization in this case will be student, right? And the body that is recommended is this one, right? So I will add this body, change the data format, And I also will work with the authorization to change it for students. And what else? Endpoint, which is submit assignment. Okay, so let's check. Authorization is in place, body as recommended, endpoint is fine. So I'm sending this. And I see that this assignment does not exist. Of course, assignment ID should be changed. Okay. So our assignment ID was from our previous. Oh, this one. Where is my this one, right? It is, in my case, 16471. 16471. I will try one more time. And again, question number 2 does not exist. So it is the wrong format. How do I identify the correct request body? Either the way that Sergey demonstrated, or again using Postman Interceptor. And again, I have to log in as this student number 9. Okay, so I will log out. Log in as student 9 because I was using this credential, student9test.com, and the password. And I will have again 7 assignments. And I will definitely have to get to this point. I will put some answer as the textual question. I will definitely need to select correct answers, right? And again, you may have different tests to get correct or incorrect status depending on your input, right? So for correct, it will be this options. And before submitting my answers again, I will turn on my Postman Interceptor and delete the history. Okay, I will clear the history. Turn on the interceptor. Check that it is turned on here as well. It is blue now, right? And I now will submit my answer and click OK. And in my folder history, I will look for post submit assignment. And this will be the body. So same way, so I will copy it and add it to my request. And check out that my post assignment has correct number 16471. 16471. Okay, and this beautify definitely will add it, right? And now I'm getting 200, okay. And here I will check that ID of my assignment is correct, right? What else? That it contains some textual questions, and I will check the status, assignment group ID, and whatever. So we definitely need to keep in mind that in our response body, we will verify certain parameters as required by our tests. Okay, so this is how you can use Postman Interceptor. Or you can avoid using it if you have the knowledge how to use the tools. But in both cases, you have to simulate the user activity, navigate to the same page, right? Get the same answer, exactly the format that you have in your post quiz, right? The same questions, and then you will be able to find the correct solution for your request body. Okay, and then I will say that again. As post submit assignment, it will be student role. Okay. So there would be no difficulties, I believe, if you work with the requirements in Swagger. So you can sure use the request bodies safely to continue working with all the necessary requests, so that you will be able to have, like here in my collection, I have 24 or maybe 26. I don't remember exact number of requests in my collection. So far, you don't put them in any logical order, just use them. But when we start using them as an entire workflow, we definitely need to make sure that they follow some workflow, like you first sign up as a user, then you activate your user. We will be learning how to activate. Then you sign in as a teacher, then you sign in as a student, then you get users information, right? Then you get quizzes, then you create quiz, and so you put some logics, right? So that once you run the collection, they will be running like a chain, one by one, and the information will be passed from one request to another. Okay? Any more questions related with creating requests, guys, using Swagger?
I want to ask about tokens.
Okay, what about it?
Do we need to change the tokens when we change environment, student, and teacher?
So I would repeat one more time. So if you are working with Postman and you create your sign in as a teacher and as a student, your token will be kept for 24 hours. But if you click on this request one more time, right? Every time you send this request while clicking, your token will be updated. Accordingly, you will have to update it in your environment. So I don't recommend you to use this call more than one time. So you sign in as a teacher, you sign in as a student, and then you don't repeat those requests. You can work with post as many times as you need, with create assignments. In this case, you won't have to update your tokens.
But it's still one token for both of them.
No, different token. Every time you send this request, the token will be updated.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, for teacher and for student is the same token.
So there will be different tokens for every user. Every time you use specific credentials, a new token will be created, and this token will assign the privileges. So student will not be able to send some of the requests related with assignments and quizzes and user management, so you won't be able to perform those requests as a student. And as a teacher, you won't be able to submit an assignment, right? So every time you need to think and control which authorization to select, whether teacher or student. And if you provide incorrect token, you will get what kind of error message, guys? What status code will you get if you provide incorrect token?
Unauthorized.
No.
No.
When will you get unauthorized?
Access denied? No.
You will get unauthorized if you provide incorrect password when you log in, or incorrect email when you log in only.
So it's not going to be 401?
This will be 401.
Authorization failed.
Authorization failed 401. It means that you provided incorrect credentials, right? But what will happen if you provide incorrect token? So those unauthorized do not require token, right? You log in. It doesn't contain authorization. So log in as a teacher, log in as a student do not have any authorization, right? You see, sign in as a teacher. You don't have authorization.
Bad request.
Okay. You see, I am sending this request and I'm getting authentication fail. User not found or password doesn't match. Not found. And again, it's supposed to be according to specification here. Swagger, authorization, post sign in.
So it's going to be bad request, no? It's going to be 400.
241 authentication phase, the user was not activated, is correct.
Page not found.
So according to our, it is authentication failed, bad request, right? But
so it's 400.
It will be 401. User not authorized, right? And what if I use in this request? What if I use in this request post quiz? Here we have authorization. What if I change it for token student? What do you think will happen?
What did you change, Galina? Sorry, I missed it. Students token. Okay, okay.
Okay, and I'm in a different workspace. I will go back to our, and here post quiz, I will use token student. What do you think will happen? Forbidden, not enough permissions. So this is the main difference, right? So it limits your permissions. You have the right credentials, but you don't have enough privileges. You are the wrong user. As a student, I cannot post any quiz. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, so let's have a couple minutes break and then we will speak about variables, okay? And we will go back to our PowerPoint presentation and now we will speak about Postman variables. So what is the variable, guys?
It's a container where we...
Okay, go
ahead.
It's a container where we save information and can reuse it. So it takes some memory inside of the program, and the benefit of it, it's reusable. It is clear, understandable when we are providing meaningful name to the variable, and basically that's it. This is container for information, for holding information. Without variable, we cannot save anything in our program.
Okay, that's true. This is a container or a placeholder for some data, right? And you need to memorize that programming rule. Number one will be that if you have some value, right, that is used more than once, it should be assigned to a variable. So, and variables can take different values, right? And they can later be reused in your requests or scripts. And by storing a variable in a variable name, right? Variable value in a variable name, you can reference this variable name through your collection, environment, or requests. And for example, if you need to update your value, right? You don't have to go each and every request, right? You will be able to update this value only in one place, right? So if we had to update our token, right? Everywhere that it is contained, we had to update, to go and manually update it in each and every request that is related to the teacher or to the student, right? And now when we send a new request as a teacher, we will have to go only in one place and update it here. So it definitely saves a lot of time. Now let's speak about different variable types that Postman supports. So of course, we can have different variable scopes. We can have global variables. We can create variables at the collection level, at the environment level. We can definitely have local variables and data variables. So what do you think, guys, about the global variables?
Global variables, it's the variable that we can use outside of our code, comparing to local, which we can use only inside of our specific part of code. And basically this is an answer.
Okay.
In different collections, we can use it.
Okay, so you said about local variables. Okay, let's start from local. What do you think? What local variable, how long will local variable will live?
It's only inside of the code, inside of the specific part of the code.
Right.
It's,
Change every time when you save it or send it.
Okay, so a local variable definitely is very temporary, right? And it will be accessible in your request. And the scope of this variable will be in a single request and no longer will be available when the run of this request is complete. Okay. What about environment variable? What about the environment variable?
well, it name itself, as we have an environment in Postman.
Mm-hmm.
We can initiate some variables for our specific environment.
Okay, for our specific needs, right? and it will allow us to create a set of requests and also use those variables in our tests and run them on different environments.
Galina, so what is the difference in such cases? Better token looked for me as global variable also, right? But I understand that it's local one.
I didn't get your question. One more time, please.
We were talking about previous, right? We were talking about local variable. And for us, in our case, it was better token, which we created for what we did.
Okay.
For students, right?
No, we definitely use this as the environment variable.
Yes, but it's environment. So what's the difference? Like in example, can you explain what is local in example in Postman?
So far, we don't have any example of local variables, but when we start to work with the tests, right?
Okay.
Then we can create some local environment. So far, we are working only with environment variables. Okay, and how to create an environment variable?
We go to environment.
Just click to this I.
Right. Go there, and then we will create the
Edit.
Right.
Edit.
We have two options. We can create an environment variable, and we can create a global variable. Right? If we do this, we will have these global variables. And what is global variable? Well, where will it be accessible? So we, with environment variable, we can have only one at a time, right? Either QA or staging or production. So, and we have to select this environment here, and then we will be able to work with one at a time. What about global variable?
In different,
yeah, go ahead.
It can be used in different environments and collections.
Right, it will be accessible throughout collections, between requests, test scripts, and environments. So it is available through our entire my workspace. I can have several collections here, and it will be there. What is the danger of using?
Galina, so how do we do it? How do we create global?
Same way, I selected global here. I will give it a name. I will initiate the value, and then I will be able to use it. Same way. But what is the danger of using global variables, guys?
It can intercept with other environments.
Absolutely. It is dangerous because it can be accessed from any file, right? It can be modified from anywhere. Therefore, this is the reason that using global variables are not recommended. We can use it at the beginning when we are doing prototyping, right? But then when we start working with the tests, it is better to switch to environment variables. We can also create a collection variable, and I will show you how to do this. So here we have the 3 dots next to the collection name. You can click here, and then I will select edit. And here in the edit, I have variables tab. And then I will be able to create collection variables. So collection variables will be available throughout the requests in one collection. And they will be independent of the environments. But the collection variables are suitable when you are working with just one single environment, right? But the disadvantage of working with collection environment that you cannot update them from scripts. Therefore, they're not so useful as environment variables. And I will show you how to update them from scripts very soon when we start working with tests and test automation. And one more important thing, guys, that you need to remember about the, 1 second. This one. About the level of those scopes. So if you have two variables with the same name, one of which will be global and another one will be environment, which one will be executed? What do you think?
Environment. Environment.
Why?
The closest one.
The rule is that the variable with the narrowest scope, right, will be executed. And if we look at this diagram, so the global has the widest scope, then goes collection, then environment, then data, and local. So if we choose between global and environment, environment has the narrower scope, right? Therefore, it will be run when we have two variables having one and the same name. You see, here we have global variable having name, and it has value Mike, right? And environment variable, which has variable name, but the value is Jane. So which name will be executed? Which
Jane.
Jane, right? And here, even if you navigate, right, to the, even if you start working with this, you see that it is demonstrated that environment has, is prevailing over global. Okay.
And if you need to choose the global one, then what would you have to do?
So you definitely have to prefer working with environment variable. I said that global variables are not recommended when you start working with tests or running those requests. They are recommended when you initially create those variables, right? While prototyping, but then you eliminate those. You just delete your global variables.
And it will not give us the option to, like the option to choose from the global. Like there's not going to be an option Mike, right?
You have to rename your global variables so that you don't have this conflict. This is another way.
Thank you.
And finally, we have this another variables related with data variables, right? So data variables, you will find them when you start working with multiple data sets. For example, if you need to execute one and the same requests against different data, then you have to use these data variables. And those values, right, they will exist during the execution of the iteration. So as any data submitted, data-driven, right, tests, you need to work with some document where you will specify your data. And it can be comma-separated value, or it can be JSON format. So how to create this comma-separated value, or it is much more convenient to be working with comma-separated value and use the table for that. So imagine that we want to use multiple data sets, and run one and the same request with multiple iterations, so that a certain number of students will be accessing our application. So we need to create a document, right? So we can use for that purpose Excel spreadsheet, blank workbook. Okay, or if you don't have your Excel spreadsheet, then you can use Google Docs. You can go to Google Drive and you will create a new Google Sheet. And here you will definitely give it a name, say something like data. And here we need to create, specify the variable's name, which will be our email. When we want to submit student ID for registration, we need to provide email and password, right? Let it make shorter, email and password. And we will take our data from our data table. So I will go with this first 5 and add it here. And password in all the cases will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need to save it as a comma separated value, right? So I can go to File, download as comma separated value, .csv. Okay, so I got it. And now I need to create a folder, for example, on my desktop. I will close this one and we'll create a folder on my desktop and I will call it Ask Data. Okay, I will delete this one. And I will, from downloads, I will add this one to my folder, Ask Data. But I definitely need to rename it. I don't need this. Right? Okay. So, and it will be opened with my Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so you can open it with any Excel spreadsheet. So you see that in my folder, it has the same value, right? Column name, email, it is our credential, parameter, and values, password and values, okay? So we created our data sheet. Now we need to work with our Postman. Let's go to Postman and we will create a new collection. I can click here on New Collection. And I will give the name to my collection. Let's say comma separated values, CSV, multiple iterations, Guys, I will remind you, when you do this, try to avoid using spaces in the name of your collections, okay? So now I have it. And so I have post sign in as a student, right? So I will duplicate this request, and I will drag and drop it into my multiple iteration collections. Okay, and I can rename it again so that I don't have this word. Just posting student. Okay, so here I have the body student test something, right? And the password something. So how should I change this? What do you think? If I'm working with variables. I have several values and one and the same variable name.
You should make it global.
It is in my data file.
So you will choose from data?
Right, I need the variable from data file.
You create array, and then student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, and 5 will be
them to be supported from the data file as multiple data sets with multiple iterations, one by one. So I have different values, but I have one and the same name here. So by the rule, I definitely have to use the variable name, and it will be like we did, right? Oh my gosh, not here. Here in our request, within the quotes, right? I will use double curly braces and use the name of my variable. And in password, I will do the same. I will use double curly braces and the name of my variable, and it is according to my data, it is pass. Okay.
How will it know if it's student 1 or student 2 or student 3?
Because I'm going to submit it from my data. Okay, but I definitely updated this one, right? I need to save it. And I'm saving this in my new collection.
Galina, so basically we made requests for 5 students, right? From database right now.
Right, and now I'm going to run it through collection runner. So I can click on the 3 dots and I will run my collection from here. So I will select file that is saved in my Ask Data. I will open this file. It will be seen here, and I can, you see, data file.csv. I can preview this one. And it has 5 iterations with different values. And I can run it now.
Galina, let me join the Alessia question also. What if you want?
Let me finish, and then you will ask you.
Yeah, sorry.
See, I have 5 iterations. For the first one, I have 200 okay, and it doesn't have any tests so far, right? For the second one, it is fine. For the third one, not found. Somebody probably changed the login for student 3, login information, right? Student 4 is fine, and student 5 is also good. Let's check student 3, whether it exists in our database. Okay, copy, and we will go to our query and call for our student 3. Oops, what is this one? Okay, student 3. Test.com. And we run this one, and somebody deleted the student so far, so we definitely need to create this new student with this credentials. Okay, so some of our tests, some of our requests were successful, some of them were not successful, but we are testing, and that's what we expect. Okay, now your questions, guys.
When we are
go ahead.
Thank you. When we run through API this new variable, we get as a response all of them, like in our case 5 iteration. But any chance to use it as an array with index, like in programming language, to return, let's say, number 2? Or we always our goal to return all of them?
We need to submit them one by one. This is our goal. There are different options possible, especially when you know how to program this. I am giving you just the basic knowledge that probably will give you foot in the door. Once you start learning JavaScript, once you start working with APIs, you will expand your knowledge and skills, right? But this is just the first step that you need to know. Any questions related with data variables and how to create multiple iterations?
Galina, can we set a delay between steps?
Right. Let's go back to our request. So I can either run again, right? View the summary, and I can do it one more time. Run collection. And I will select the file again. And I have 5 iterations, and I will say like 200 milliseconds, which will be 2 seconds, right? No, just 1. Let's not do this. Or even 10 milliseconds would be enough, right? Or 50, so that we don't wait a lot, right? And then I will be able to run it. And it's still very quickly performed. And you get the report on all the requests. And you're definitely focused on the result here. If your requests, if you call contain some tests, the tests pass or fail will be also indicated here as well. So far, we don't have any tests yet, but we need to check the status report.
What for do we need delay?
To show the time difference between execution of one and another. Sometimes it is important. Okay, let's now update our data file. For example, we want to update our quiz, right? And then we want to delete our quiz. So update quiz, we need to duplicate this request. And again, we will move it to our new collection. But we also need to log in as a teacher, because the this update quiz will not be able to create without the teacher authentication, right? So we will duplicate this one and move it again. And logically, we first log in as a teacher, right? And again, we will name this one. We don't need this copy. And we need to rename this one. But definitely we will have to add some quiz ID. And where do we get those quiz ID? From our quizzes table, right? So, for example, I will go into update quiz 6932. Okay, let me add one more column. And the variable name will be put quiz. And delete quiz. Another will be delete quiz. No, it should be in conformity with the same. And I'm going to use this information 6921 6922 6922 6923 6924 and 6925. 6925. And then I will update and then I will delete those. Okay, and instead of student 3, I will probably add student 6. Let's see whether this one will be getting correct expected result for success. Okay. So we added some information to our data table and we definitely have to save it, right? And then we need to update our requests, put and delete. Okay, and that's delete. Okay, rename, delete. No. How do I do this? Rename. Okay. Now let's update the body of our request. Authorization is fine, right? So we need I don't. Okay, so what do we have to update here? What do you think?
No idea.
Variable, right? So it will be variable name from our table, right? It will be put quiz. And it will be put quiz. Does it need any quotes? Probably not, because we don't deal with the string here, right? It is a number. And in delete, where should we put the variable name?
In the body or
No, we don't put the body in the delete.
in the request.
we will add directly in the URL, right? And it will be our delete quiz. Okay, and now we definitely have to save both. We have to save this one, otherwise it will fail, and we will have to save this one again. And don't forget to save your updated values here. Okay, so this one is Food Quiz, and it's supposed to be the same spelling as here, Food Quiz. And this one is Delete Quiz. We provide the variable name. And now we will run one more time this collection, and I will probably uncheck this one, right? Because if I run this post sign in as a teacher, it will update my token. I don't want it, and I have it in my environment variable. So I will select the file. And do I have any notification about the environment? Okay, I hope so. Okay, let's try to run it. And if we preview this one, right, we will see the quiz ID for put and close this one and run. And so we get oh, correct, 200 okay results. For every request, sign in as a student, update quiz, and delete quiz. And if we want to run it one more time, right, then we will have to not to update our requests, but we'll have to update our quiz IDs because we have already deleted those quiz. So if we want to check it, we will go to our database, go to quizzes again, and we will not find the quiz 6921. 6921 has been deleted. Okay. Any questions about data and multiple iterations? All right, now, guys, we will be able to run this from command line, not only through Postman Runner. And I will give you instructions how to install Newman. So Newman is another component. Command line collection runner for Postman. And it allows you to run and test Postman collections directly from command line. And it is used for automation purposes mainly. So it will allow you to run and get reports about your collection without even going and opening Postman. So to run Newman, you need to have Node.js installed on your computer, and the version should be later than version 10. So Node.js is an open source backend JavaScript runtime environment, and it is cross-platform. It can be installed on any operating system, and it will execute JavaScript code outside the web browser. So how to check whether you have Newman or Node.js installed, right? So you can open your terminal here and type node space v, and I will see that I have version 14.6.0 installed. And to check whether I have Newman, the command will be Newman version. And I see that I have Newman version 5.1.2. Okay, I will make it bigger for you to see it better. And now I'm ready to work with my collection. So I will have to again to update my quizzes information. Let's go back to our quizzes. And so I will do the same for 6601. 6601. 66010. 6610. 13, 16, and 19. 13, 16, and 19. Okay. And don't forget to save your updated file. Okay, so now I need to export my collection. This one. So everything has been saved here and we know that it is working. So here I will click on this 3 dots and scroll down to find this export option. Click export and export. Go by defaults. And you need to save this CSV multiple iteration Postman collection into this Ask Data folder. You would save it there. And get notification that it was exported successfully. Same for my environment, right? So I will open my environment. Or it is somewhere here. And I will click on this 3 dots again and I will export into the same folder. And I get this information that it was successfully imported. Now in my terminal, I need to navigate to this folder by using commands, right? And what will be my command to switch to this folder? And I save them on my desktop. Can you
CD.
Okay, CD, desk, and I can use tab to go to this desktop. And the name of my folder is Ask, one more time, Ask Data, right? So I will continue working here, Ask Data. Click enter. And I'm there in Ask Data. Now I need to get the information about the contents of my folder. What is the command for that?
ls.
ls. And one second, ls. And I will use the option L so that I can get the more detailed information about the contents of this. And now I will be able to copy and paste this directly from my terminal here. So to run all the requests collection, command will be Newman run. Newman run. And now I will just copy and paste, and I will start with the Postman collection. I will use this copy, Control C, space, Control V, space. Then I need to specify the environment, and this is my environment. Copy this one, Control C, and I use another option, and it is -E for environment, space, and Control V to paste this one. And again, another space. And in order to work with the data file, right, I doubt that it will be working like that. I have to rename it. You see, I have some spaces. I will go to my file here, desktop data, and I will rename it to delete this space. Okay, and here I will now use another option, and it will be D for data, and I will just use the name of this file, data.csv. Okay, so the command will be Newman run, and all the names of the files that are in this folder, right, with some options. -E for environment file and -D for data.csv. Okay, and then I just hit enter, and you see that it is running, and as a result I'm getting this nice table that shows the number of iterations. We don't have any tests, right? Therefore we don't have anything. We have 72 requests, and all of them are green. It means that they all passed successfully. Just one doesn't have the student login sign in. Which one? I don't know. Some of them are not good. Some of them are not authorized. So teacher delete quiz by the, I don't know what happens here by the request. Probably somebody updated or I updated it. So we need to look into this more carefully, right? Something is not good with this data. Okay, but basically this is how it works. I will make sure that for the next round, I will prepare good data table. Okay, guys, any questions about Newman?
Well, we don't have it started yet, so we need to work on it.
So again, this is optional. I don't insist that you do it if you don't have enough time. This is optional for you. But how to work with data and multiple iterations through Postman, I really encourage you to practice. And if you want, I will provide the information how to install Node.js, how to install Newman, and you will be watching this video recording, so how to.
Yes, please. I have Node.js, but no Newman.
Okay, so in order to install Newman, you will run command brew install Newman. So if you are working with Mac OS, so I will provide both instructions for both Windows users and Mac users as well. Okay, and again, this is optional.
Thank you, Galina.
Okay, guys. So your homework will be number 1, to complete your outstanding tests. And so that tomorrow we can close our sprint and work on the sprint review and retrospective. And then we will continue working with API testing once our time allows. Okay? Any questions, guys?